Odinga kingen kele moibe kijang kole ki agenge en biik chekiek the fathers chebo devolution en emoni ne kitoret en ngalekab kewal katiba nebo emetab Kenya kishikotok mole Kenya ngalekab majimbo ako molo ye nyalu keker kele kilyonin emoni sikotestai so konoto amune sikomwa kele rani kengolole ketinye notok kimit koboto Governor Stephen Sang governor nebo county nebo Nandi kengolole notok eng betut nebo rani kotomo kitok nyama jekili lokabe meje kitestai kisubi eng betut tab rani eng kulep studio nebo Kass FM International kotomo ngyo ketestai lokabe meje kitestai ketobeni eng betut tab rani eng Olep studio.
Logoiwekab emet chekitesetai kisubi koibun Safaricom. Kikosirge mungaroshek chesire milionishek 3 eng lipa na M-Pesa. Imuch iboishe M-Pesa eng ui tugul ole imi eng Kenya. Boishe M-Pesa eng ui tugul sait age tugul eng emetab Kenya eng oretab pochi ak lipa na M-Pesa. Safaricom, popote ulipo.
Testai utik keteter eng wanya noto nebo ndegeishek nebo JKI ole kikonyi borto nebo Raila Odinga nekimangu koit emoni eng sait agenge nemite tai kongete emet noto nebo India ole kotestai kora kandoik keteter eng emoni ak emotinwek chebo sang koteluyetab mutyo kotinygei ak anan eng family koboto choronok chebo Raila Odinga nekoibet sobenyi eng betut noto nebo amut ole joto kojetestai kisubi eng betutab rani Olep studio asikeibun eng nwakindo koitei sait oeng akinyoru kora eng koindo eng sait 3.
Logoiwekab emet chekitesetai kisubi kokaibun Safaricom. Kikosirge mungaroshek chesire milionishek 3 eng lipa na M-Pesa. Imuch iboishe M-Pesa eng ui tugul ole imi eng Kenya. Boishe M-Pesa eng ui tugul sait age tugul eng emetab Kenya eng oretab pochi ak lipa na M-Pesa. Safaricom, popote ulipo.
Okay, kitestai kunotokere sait agenge kebeberyat eng Olep studio nebo Kass FM International akoitonya Olep studio siketestai eng bagenge eng Lenee Emet.
Karibu sana governor noto nebo Boas ngele mama kotaje Boas moyo ko declare ngole the questions tebendi ko tebe studio.
Yes.
Mama moyo ko ngeliande netingi governor.
Karibu governor katika Kalenjin. Unatomino kenyenes 2020 nekinyo agenge.
Yes, kimomi.
Yes, wakinyo agenge arawetab angwan yo. Yes, karibu eng studio katika Kalenjin governor siketestai.
Kongoi Boas ak Triza ngai boroini akat purietab Kalenjin gibeberwek tugul chemi ale chamgei ako mising ko bikyuk chebo county nebo Nandi. Triza what you in nagile conflict of interest.
Media.
Kale in Boas mameje ko tai schoolmate, classmate,
yes,
a governor na jino wa county.
Yes.
Lakini ameja iboroini ing niaba nebo bikyuk chebo county nebo Nandi. Ing niaba jabo bikyok across the Rift Valley. Agong niaba nebo biikab Kenya ketestage mwamutyo ngabet nikokibet former prime minister. Abwati ale ngolion nikongoit amut kokowek mshangao ako mstuko chitugul. Ang Raila ko jito niki is a towering figure. Chito nimeli na ngele Raila Odinga. Kikonag Kenya mabwati ale milakwa nebo kenyisiek 10 akwa tai mengi Raila. And he is a known figure. So kimeje kele kabet ni koibet family kuma family nege koibet Kenya. We lost a leader. So ameja iboroini ing niaba na nyu ing niaba nebo county ing niaba nebo big chok chebo Kalenjin kemwa mutyo ngabet ni kokibet Raila. Boas angen ale focus on ing not lakini kora ameja iboroini ing niaba na nyu kora ako ing niaba nebo serikalitab county kora obwati ole kokibet one of the former leaders koki county nebo Nandi.
Yes.
Former member of parliament nebo Mgweni ako former member of parliament nebo Jesume. That is Honorable Elijah Lagat. Nigibet inendet negit I think about a week and a half ago. Ne inendet ing betut mutai kekonori inendet. So ameche aleji family kuiko kemwa. I have been with the family all through. Kemeche keleji family nebo Elijah Lagat Pole, kemeche keleji mwoji relatives chechiket ak biikab Chesumei ak emgwenji ki represent inendet. But also to the sporting fraternity.
Yes.
Elijah one of the interesting marathoners chindakisire history nenyinet ko interesting. Biik chechang ko kiingian labatet from the word go. Elijah ko kinyo ko ingian labatet betut agenge ko hospitali keleji makati I manage your weight and ngalekab sugars ak ne. And it was out of a medical condition.
Yes.
Keleji you need to do exercise ak ne akum ko taune jito yoto way after 40 ako lavat ko kunyo ko Boston Marathon gold medal no Boston Marathon. That kind of resilience is interesting. Maro isi ko to jito imagine at my age or at your age yani kai profession mungi was already working as a civil servant. Akinyo ko ingian ko to lavated ako sukuman. That is a mark of resilience ak jito nikimuji kapasa in you know, somebody who can be able to start life afresh.
Yes.
Ako Indian profession tofauti. Na hapo tarnoto konyo ko Indian siasa. And for 10 years I worked with Elijah Lagat Kemite Bunge Tuai, and he was such an interesting gentleman. Kibogo meeting in tozo siri chikage Elijah. Koras baadaye nyoge vori chike ngejireta kenge Tuai. I was running for governor, he was running for governor. Governor. Again, so come to I could not I will get that campaign. Mommy Tebe to Nigi. He was such a gentleman. I would think a leg of CS. And he would speak his position, speak out of Malology. I go in Korak, Kagen Koingian position of Nakada, and he was one of the leaders within the Ministry of Interior, one of the board members of Nakada. So Gimege Lenee Pole, Ageleji go Ngojitu go authority, Gitinha in Jumabilia Arabe, Amajaleji Gongo president, Nigi go Nega Win, the Nigis Capasanigi Torret family, Amajaleji Gongoi Waziri Kipchumba Murkomen, Jorwen was Kasudi, Nigi go Negra winning Ishat, head of public service, Raymond Molo PS. Agigimit agwa jumbe tugul, you know, all the leaders, women rep, MP, polo, activity tugul, nagibo in leaders gigimit tuguli, ke meje gibo agwa 90, gibo 190, nagibo ge kapsa gile in gibo ruchom nyet in one of our leaders, and therefore be tutamutai ke gonori nendeti, agere ga go too young aleke jang, you know, amungira program never in right on the prime minister. Ago as koinete gibo yondani. This ingeni legi ngol yondani Raila Odinga go interesting. Kotago mite shock big already gumang program agele lebo yod
72 hours
within 72 hours. Yani jijigai agosi nenda ko ndagima fitin that program nebo ndagima go in will na nyine nebo 72 hours. Of what you only go to Jiji kabisa go to pending Jiji kabisa lakini magina is kachile kwa yondoni au jam ko inendete ko jam ko ngen kwa morning kabisa you know ko jam ko ito yeah he's a man that you would expect we would have wanted to do more elaborate you know last rites lakini more in the will na nyine tako mo 72 hours. Now we see a lot of the programs have been crashed into that short 2-3 days. So we see Kongoite Jumabili ke gonna renend. Lakini basically also it's I think it's something to look at. Yeah, it's a conversation meje ke amoyin ko ngololi again wa Islamu.
Yes.
Kele ndako mo Islamu jiji ko gota ko norjin the next mosque. Kale gota ku property no the next mosque the miteo ago the mosque no tak ne kurye program no to kot ke ko norji to sai ya ne ago to ke jenge de ne family ne ko aja ago ko yan bi to as a way of life. Maybe this is also, you know, just looking at how a big man in the stature of Raila is going his burial rites, like everything to the celebration of his life will be done in 72 hours or slightly, you know, just within that period. Maybe there's something to think about.
Discussion.
You know, it's a discussion because also ngiwe olimbo ka olin ak kebeberwek chechang the expenses related to burial ngap kotebi chito for almost 2 weeks and there might be no reason you know ngap komite sine halage jegele mite lagok bitanin mite modion tagebongoni gene lakini ngap komite situation kabisa ngap igere ile we run into huge expenses on account of time nika kimeto kotebi chito between the time nika sirto chito ko kekonori ngap kwa kabisa ngobeku that period the expenses and the time you know is something else. So I think Raila Odinga again, even in his death, Kogagone take something. Ne abwati ole pitua conversation within the Kenyan political space, but also in the Kenyan society. Kile yaga hii kugotoyo make these burial rites, like the funeral and the time frame. Kutusta ko yomega 2 weeks, 3 weeks jingaf kenyoru. These elaborate ones jingaf ke at whose cost? You know, ngaviro about the cost nigi nyae jito. Ag the cost in the funeral. Wakati ko ikaw meet a family, the burden nigi meet a family the family will be struggling with 2-3 things. Ko jito. That is mourning already.
Yes.
The buying, the cost, and the period was made so long, you know, to the extent I go to kila kitu because I mean in a village because we know it is a society.
Yes.
In a village because it is a million is the tagilen making a man. So I think it is something that has given us an opportunity to have that discussion.
As a lawyer gitiawek tegite nangole kworoge sabik chechang kongamwa gele kagomwa giliot kole kisir. So as a lawyer cham kingele will ko malik ak tugun kole ubongandano sabet yegawe lakini kongosir chi kole okonora betut nekile as a lawyer imuch keamenden yongo some family amun osir biikab luo Nyanza wala pana tunaomba baba utupe ruhusa tupange kidogo
ingenile it's really a matter of family ngaf kumeken jita wish. Of course, when he makes a wish, it is upon those who will implement. Implement in a more in the practical sense.
Yes.
The family will practical and Kenya. 72.
Yes.
Now with all these processes, Chicago test time, and more so, even when also the government says we are going to accord him state, state funeral. You know, of course, then also go create some bit of. So I think wishes Chobojito in a will, particularly a wish like this, may not be something 100% strictly. Like then you implement it in a manner in which that is practical as much as possible. You know, and you know, for him to have said that also, because we don't actually anticipate our death.
Yes.
That is really what they would have wanted. So I see the government and the family making a practical decision.
Okay.
Timelines iturani in the parliament today the state ceremony in Nyayo Stadium on Wednesday Saturday you know you can see that if you are to make it, for example, Saturday burial, you would struggle to understand how you would manage all this. So you go practical, listening to the wishes of the late Prime Minister, lakini zaidi kugira the practicality ile jiji kumele nitskota kujita ngo kago kwa serikali state burial wala semagene ko bit certain programs
adjustments
lakini kagir ngiro tukuja ko testa ingin jogere big jogging television tayari ngiro JKI
yes
ngiro ashile it is not just state funeral ingiro kokago kawa barak saidi.
Yes.
We have had state, even Phoebe Asio, the other day we came state funeral.
Yes.
Like in this, the elaborate nature of what was done.
Yes.
Prime Minister.
Yes.
You know, there had to be something, you know, flexible kidogo, adjusted, because this is a man of his own kind.
Okay, angana le mesa ke bwa bara kitana kitabani gora mesengrane governor ko ngalia tab devolution to Raila Odinga wajame ngotugul ngotende devolution conference ago arana mogi ku whip engasarta ne goy ne boy ne agoyin engin council of governors jam ko gere tuyet ngela abi gero ngalo kataka tionga mnyugo gere tuyet not ne bo devolution conference au matu ku kechang chako ngomandoi Raila Odinga gotenda gitana magitenda ibi kechang kenagamwa koresi ke ngala le agoy engasarta ne goy mangana le toso le moy toy anan status ne net ko jito kikale majige development education sector nato kitende ki moy ko negit mwezi wa 8 enkenyini kikamwa gora kenyini tagara nigit ko tom goloit kole Kenya is too tiny for the 47 developed units kikale tago mura mai tage chill kidogo sei mwa tage mwagele tos kanyol gora geto discussion ina una tani bara Raila Odinga mwene ko ngalali based on experience ne net matuni tegi ko bon igere prime minister Narendra Modi ko chini ne gari kin misenga satana goy ko se getinya tage tigen egityo enyala ni bengi natani ba stanbe ko bwatene ngane kalengot ko chini ba SME ibitendai biashara no ngetinya uchumi ngune gorom jamgale mbi ko ye ko mitsilenge ngune lakini engune ke maje gelejin ngale gap cash flow ngune mata ko imen SMEs yaga tukune mi amfanye biashara ndogo ndogo jomio ke maje gelejin ndani emoch istaige ka imote ke mitingo ni bangale gap robishek amo bengi natani ba stanbe ko tendoi jamge moy gelen tailor-made solutions ya mege aginye ne taritin ko imfanye biashara ro limit ko mnye engasarta ga tool so ngimfanye biashara kiko te 100 years ngimani bengi natani ba stanbe au galejin namege ak biashara no ngetenyo ngoti maje ngale ga finance jagru and secured bonds ko 100% vehicle and asset finance ngale asset finance imiga kabisa bengi natani ba Stanbic bank yaga tool ani miya ko mfanye biashara mami jagelen facility fees mami jagelene kitaka tool ngone ko raisa kabisa ngoti mite bengi ngung natani ba Stanbic ko piga bese mis tool jamgelen SME banking ko tenda ni gure SME banking solution bengi natani ba Stanbic ngitene tibu taka tool yaktangaliot unlock kwa number 22208 yaktangaliot unlock kwa number 22208 engnyatangaliot unlock unlogo UNLOCK Stanbic Bank unlocking new horizons. Governor maji tinyata gitigin tuji Raila Odinga ko tos yaomi gora council of governors ogere ongala mwene mangala lityo inego ngala ko jamgele nin ka ko bwat komnye ngalio tap ke develop ngale education agito ngi magole emoni kale too tiny ke le developed units so mangana le tos kio this discussion in council of governors
maybe ngotogoroga mwale tos Raila ini kibotene ngimet of Kenya. What has, you know, this celebration ndajuru gejito ko bunu a place ni gelo ko area so go this kind of celebration of life na nyine morning jiji ko tibige biga sagele jiji ko giaine jiji what is it that he has made as his contribution to this country ngi ro ko go shoken Emet of Kenya Rwanda Raila netai konge mwa democracy ago missing the fight for multi-party democracy. Raila's name is at the center of it. Yes. And you see, he has lived he has lived with that spirit all along. To me, Raila is somebody who has believed strongly in democracy. His contribution in 1992, I mean, and even before 1992, because of that activism, you know, all the what as we speak right now, you know, I was reading all along, this fellow for 9 years. You know, if you are detained, COVID-19, forget about cell. Crackdown. One day in an environment enclosed, even within your family's, I mean, within your home, this is something else. And it has incarceration.
Yes,
and not just for a month, not for a year, for 9 years. And eventually, and ako ki wakati not of detention kunda kisiku chito ngisayo kule lekta kule mabote ngale jo kwangolole jo ketiochin lakini this fellow decides kule anende ngele kotaketebe kele ilene katep chi ngele ilene kula ja mi konyet ai 1 year ami konye 2 years 3 years to the extent that even when the mother died,
Kimogomi.
After 2 months and 3 months came watching the prison authorities. Comment. It's, you know, the fact that he could stand his position for 9 years because of what he believed in democracy, in justice, in social justice, tells you Raila was a different human being.
Yes.
So, human rights.
Yes.
He violated human rights. That is why all through you would have to struggle. He contradicted because he is somebody who has lived through the hell of those things. There is nobody. I mean, all these people liberated Kenya. Because he misbehaved against once.
Yes.
For 9 years he was in detention. Demonstrations and protests during Uru time. You know, this fellow, swearing in himself. This is a man. How would you say you know, this is a man who was selfless. In whatever he believed, you may disagree with him.
Yes.
Like once he believed in something, he stood for it. Even when it is very unpopular. Decisions Raila has never spoken, even for us. Have devolution.
Yes.
Even when it comes to us, he talks straight. Some that you will agree with him, some that you may not agree with him, but he will speak it out. So Raila is somebody who was very, you know, firm in what he believes in.
Yes.
You know, he went to, you saw the other day, he went before members of parliament. Members of parliament go ming election chumagmuaj in wajumbe. Inget jitu get twasi DF community. Inget jitu go mwang alega roads, for example, and kone community. But Raila would just say it as it is. You may not agree with what I'm saying, but you must support me and give me the right to say what I believe in it. So, I mean, this is somebody who believed in democracy, who believed in social justice, also who believed in devolution. Devolution for a very long time, including the very latest discussion. The devolution conference in Homa Bay. But at the center of all those discussions, the country, it is time to relook at the country. The 47 counties may be more than what the country can hold. And let me tell you, Boaz, actress, one of the challenges is struggling as a nation today. Challenges is economy. Kinge sire katiba na Emet of Kenya kogi give benchmarking emotunwe tofauti. Ngiro, for example, in two chambers of parliament, the Senate and the National Assembly. Committee bicameral parliament. Committee emotunwe benchmarking including the US, including UK, including South Africa, including Australia. Uligi kigiri livoisho itano 2 chambers of parliament. Which one is the upper house, which one is the lower house? What is the function of the Senate? Function of the National Assembly. That structure could borrowing from countries like the US, South Africa, the UK, and Australia in terms of that structure.
Yes.
A group in Crispin or the Ambobai. Committee of devolution. In committee parliament. Committee human rights. Public finance. So these committees the best practices in those countries. So in the bicameral parliament Kenya gave about devolution. Keva US Kora, Keva Germany, kebe emet neu Nigeria, kebe emotinwek chekip kekere kele une devolution. Konget committee joto ko borrowing from those countries. Kenya be nyoge bangolio no human rights. Keba emotinwek chokingen kele their respect for human rights komite barak. If kekirot countries joto ko wendi committee ne bangalekab human rights. Kenya geteshi ngolio nebo constitutional commissions. Kele independent, kimeje ko bit independent constitutional commissions. Keba emotinwek chikip kechengat best practices age soman kele kikyaitano. Baadaye nyoge tuyo tukyo tugul agejov constitution of emetab Kenya. Makoset agenge nikibit is that in all this benchmarking, koginge benchmarking kero ngalega bicameral parliament in America. Komagitebe kegele une economy ne supporteni the bicameral parliament. Kebe if ke discussion ngalega independent constitutional commissions. In, for example, Canada. Kele meeting Canada go meet constitutional commissions which that you structure in Kenya. Got Quran get 15 independent constitutional commissions. Tamanang mood. Chengiso man go negit ko ndagizo bigo counties alak. Because they are independent, they take money, tenye members sogol. Tinye secretariat, tinye staff. Some of them are even devolving go talk ago in offices, regional offices, and ago county offices. Independent commissions. In those countries, you case man independent commissions, economy. Because all these structures the economy. So in one miracle never referendum in 2010 a new constitution. Magos any give it komagana yele tukul jiga borrowing nge motunweju tukul jiga une economy of Nigeria. What is the size of the economy of South Africa? What is the size of the economy in Germany? What is the size of the economy in the US? We have in Kenya 47 counties. In the US, you have 50 states.
Yes.
How does it relate? The economy in Kenya can it support? David, you have got counties. Kejo mungatiba kele magat komite for example CECs kele county kumuta komite the executive ak the legislature ya kapke amira nivotu komite national ipke county kele magat komite executive ak legislature executive komite governor ak ministers ak chief officers Tatang the assembly komite members of the county assembly our members of the county assembly komi elected our meeting nominated. So kiki borrowing to Kyoto tool, including even this gender issue. If case one not no tuna gender. Could Konguno go kway in accounting about 30 wards, Kongo kway 30 elected MCAs. Could kway Murenik to nominated in 16 and as be 2/3 gender. If you go to other countries, Mamite me negigo that kind of a structure. The last time I get nominated, I was about 2/3. So keep it. So keep borrowing very good practices. Like in Magete Begele, do we have an economy that can support? I go economic in referendum economy again lesumo. Magoy mambi referendum ke agelerani ke meje ke referendum ke wal economy ne bagenya ke nyileso mokaja economy ke growing but kagi referendum age established 47 counties. A very good example even in counties kitinye county no Lamu ne tinye constituencies or sumo
we are east west
it's about 3
we are 3 or 2.
Yeah.
We are around 3 years.
Yeah, actually we can find out.
Yes.
And in that economy, in that county, the Lamu, continue governor agenge, tinye deputy governor agenge, tinye ministers, kiki ko jigele, ministers jiget connected sam, tinye chief officers, imu work se we kabu tamanaga and chikaja olega jamda in olega structure and the same county, Konyuru about 5 billion. In terms of revenue. Committee account in Nairobi. Nairobi ni kwa economy na mwangedu. Kuna vile kwa kunegit about 25 billion to about 30 billion. Lakini tinye governor agenge. Ako mshahara jiba governor nebo Nairobi kwa jina governor nebo Lamu. Tinye deputy governor agenge. Ministers jiba Nairobi kwa extra by only 3. Amugi it is between the lowest ko 3 iko 7, the highest ko 10. So it's a difference of only 3. Lakini ngiro the difference in terms of resources komita bara. Nigere ile kiki we should rethink ngomwahera ila kometoywe ga yin ngoliodo noto kugine bama. Meje ketebege gele tos amune sime noktoy metap Kenya ng speed niko gimokinike. Ko ka ko nyoko nam ka the structure nebo serikali. Ko nyikisi serikali ngegeseni ko sire economy nebo yemen. To the extent that kage wal in kigi creating structures nge shot within a short time. Yet the economy remain the same. The economy grows at a percent of about sometimes 1%, 2%, 3%. Like in the structures, you get structures. Members of parliament, you move from 150 to 349.
Yes.
Kagenyuru 2 chambers. Kagenyuru 47 counties. Kagenyuru independent commissions, for example, National Land Commission. Kigile kimejeka manager or in barenik tofauti. Lakini ginget Ministry of Lands. Takumite in Commissioner of Lands, takumite PS nebo Lands, takumite Minister. Lakini create ngora in
National Land Commission.
National Land Commission. Meet Minister nebo Public Service. Meet Head of Public Service. Lakini ngora create Public Service Commission. So itinye commission ni agitinye the ministry. Inyo iwe human rights. Kitinye mean Attorney General. Kitinye Solicitor General. Kitinye in the institutions within serikali. That we create a independent commission, Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. Kitinye in the Police Service Commission, you have seen the challenges. Kitinye ako sa is magrukuriten police. Kwa mugi creating kitinye commission. Kitinye police National Police Service. Yani in every kitinye gender national gender and equality commission. Tanja ko meet the ministry of gender. Ndaginge legi create a commission case to the ministry tater. Like nigere duplicated. So in each of these situations, could be an additional layer of structure and governance. Lakini kongit economy na ba yemet ko niginyeta ke. Ingoli the economy ko to ko bole bole. Lakini structures ko ginyo ko janga ombudsman. Sijui ne yani ngiro kabisa ko ngisha judiciary. Kimo ko meet kitinye now Judicial Service Commission. In parliament kitinye Parliamentary Service Commission. Kimo ko meet those commissions before and the parliament was running. Now you ask yourself, so what is this addition? It is best practice. Mami makosa, it is good that it is best practice. Lakini meje itebege ile, can you afford it?
Okay.
Because that which is good, in your family's boss actress. It is good. Ikwirikari ita ndakakuni kari na 50 million boss. Koto makarara mo ikwirikari na 50 million. Karara mami makosa. Itinye jitu kuna helicopter. It is good. Lakini the question is, can you afford it? And is it necessary at that time? So we have found ourselves in a situation where under the new constitutional dispensation, kwajang structures to governance created. Lakini the economy to support those structures, come meet a miracle. The economy has to be built. And therefore, what Rahila left us in the last devolution conference, reflect on the affordability of these devolved units. Kelly, what you are money in 47 counties. He was talking because it was in a devolution conference. Lakini yakundagibindi yakengalale ngalega parliament. Akundagibindi yakengalale ngalega constitutional commissions. Keba yakengalale ngalega in independent offices. The question that we must ask ourselves as a country, structures created. Do we have an economy that can be able to support those structures? Is it time for us to look at how we can reduce the structures, reduce the cost of running government, so that then we invest those resources in growing the economy, and when the economy has grown, so my feeling, and I agree with the reflections it is time for us to relook. It is not to say that kojang counties.
Yes.
Mamakosa kele meet independent commissions. Mamakosa kele meet independent offices. Mamakosa kele meet all these structures under the new constitution. But the question is, do we have an economy that can support all those structures? If you are not careful, getting structures changing, kiko bin ngol yone ke moy ngiro wage bill in counties. Komita barak. It is very high. The amount of resources that are left for development, but the question is, what is the constitution has created those structures? You then have to finance those structures. It becomes the first charge. But the question is, if we went down honestly, how many counties Kenya? How many structures of independent constitutional commissions are necessary? How many in the current situation?
Yes.
Family planning, for example. Ilenga weje gile baraka lagu. Ilenga weje gi kusi family ya genga lagu tiptemi. Anangosa som. Lakini the question is the resources to take care of the children. That is why the discussion around family planning nyoruji da family unit muji isomesani imuji ilaji imuji ibai imuji ilia ngingiro reflections chibara ila kumondoa yini kogi mwagole nyum kogi ko structures Emet of Kenya chiki ko janga go sir capacity in the Emet of Kenya and that is why Gavega's overtaxation. Yes. It is a fact that we need to build houses. Housing units. Some of the programs in detail. Yes. Interesting enough programs Dr. William Ruto 100%. For example, housing. For example, generation of enough energy. Minister of energy before. Yes. Minister of public works, housing. Those are some of the structures. The reason why we are unable to finance some of these mega projects in Emet of Kenya. Ethiopia, one dam. Now over in the Grand Renaissance Dam. Yes. Now we're launching in Ethiopia, generating 5,000 megawatts. Of power. When the production of Emet of Kenya is about 3,000. In one project, how did they invest? Invest that amount of resources in a project? Yes. Today in Kenya, for you to even do a project, about $500 billion. It is either you borrow or things will happen in a very difficult situation. Even roads, housing, we are to do a housing levy. That is the challenge because we have a very weak economy and not even a weak economy. The economy is not bad, but the structures are too heavy for the economy. That is why we find ourselves in that situation.
Okay, tenye not missing governor ago Lamu gotinda ayeng Lamu West ag Lamu East chenege. So okay, testa guna tagigere hiro gile gimane Raila Odinga ago testa si gitotiza genegele une abwatalo go ita sambili agnuso gibwatingele ndege not an ibota Raila Odinga go itu Jomo Kenyatta International Airport ko kigonyi asobe an update enyo en komatiala ni bwat kichele bengi na tena stand ko gere wafanya biashara wadogo bija tukul jawo mengeje jawo mi jawo biashara agmagele ngot ko mi bwata ki bwata bengi na tena stand bija ngomwa ko len unlocking new horizons bengi na tena stand ko lejin chaga tula ni majegele banen sa zingine majegele banen mara itidai til namba nyo ko lejin til to bank engune nginye ko rais kabisa dos makine ke til to bank enyo ko lejin bengi na tena stand bik ajek tigeri bin enyo toriti ni to rais kabisa ngot kile banen engore tab M-Pesa enyo payments ci bone eng biashara ngot ko M-Pesa ko rais nginye mata inakte ko ngete M-Pesa ko bank wek M-Pesa ko rais missing eng bengi na tena Stanbic bank itukul rani ina ile go imfanya biashara ko rais nginye go secure amoja mge mai gelen maje biashara ili security nebo ina ile ngimi til imigo mnyengi maje ko bank account na tena Stanbic imigo mnye bengi ne riban dani ko imfanya biashara ko na tena Stanbic bank ngono maje go lejin oye nyorugel china tena missing rani eng bengi na tena Stanbic bank unlocking new horizons
ko gamono lentin Safaricom business kalenjin miten kibagenge ing boisiet age tugul noton ne yengi ngalolin betut abrane angalolchini chine misiro angalolchini chine ka wasoko angololchini chi noton nekakoker kole chenge faida kokalenji Safaricom kimi yu asikobit kekoni faida neinyorchinigei ko keker ile keseven amune ibire simoisiek eng beit noton ne nyolchi biashara nengunget iniboisie ne fiber na iboisie data eng biashara nengunget ko kakichobun beit kabisa ane ukosindos megi negele ne zidisha plus ne imuche koboisien piga micro ak small big choto ko menge biashara ichile star 485 hash sikobit inyorchigei zidisha plus ne ibongoni ile iboisie silingata wiki kiboisie silingata arawa eng simoit akanyon en data plans miten en big medium and large ko initon imuche inyorchigei corporate postpay plan ne iwendi to www.safaricom.co.ke/products/corporate postpay chuto tugul ko imuche kora inyorchigei ile CVP data bundles ye imuche ko browsen kiboitinikuk chemite kapkasi ye iwe kityo online www.safaricom.co.ke/products/corporate value pack chuto tugul ko ibun Safaricom nakalenji kimite kibagenge chill kityo star 485 hash.
Okay.
Yes.
Sakita staki tunya kitoteza kitikima itabuatu la jeno ya fanya biashara joka seje ngoni oye ina ile imito komnye enga sata nota ne unya mu bengi nata ne bo Stanbic Bank obuatu ngale unlocking new horizons kutima jaji bengi ne ibuatu ngai mangalega ile bani engalega till to bank gele jingo raisa kabisa eng bengi nata ne bo Stanbic bengi ni ko buatu afanya biashara jalengi ku tena bengi shigo ku tena ko buatu bengi nata ne bo Stanbic Bank ngoni kama jigeli makine ka account mene kure pamoja trader business account ndino mega ginye ko imfanya biashara amugone nkelchin ribike mengechen ngabkali itawiye ngalega benki ko ne lagini gichobun benki tap stand benki takatur namge ak biashara gele small business nguni kemajegeri ngitinda itano bana bongete 100,000 engnya kumigilchin flexible kapesa enginye magamagana tunja cha engnya Stanbic Bank komite ko current support na inege asiye to eng biashara nengung real time ngalega blebane engnya majegeri Stanbic Bank unlocking new horizons
ko kemwa ile update ale plan kutoka unoton kusipke age state house kama ule sambili aknusu kitinye yes in the next 20 minutes agero laga banga ndage ngete Lee funeral ago limba JKI kuitubo porto noton bo Raila Odinga ago military it's a military event so ingenile military go time age sibigora program kunoton so ago ni update sa ingo itugityo amwaun kaiting kit ne kigengalale ne kasarta ne go governor ago noton bagewegele kagoit kele kagwal constitution kagoit kele kagiachi amendment constitution koitu ngoliotab referendum is it time in emetab Kenya kibwan ngoliotab referendum
amwengele governor kibendi in re-election of president emon go kitanya gorito bigitegen after Mike backing 205
imi office lakini kagivote against you
ungibu referendum kongwa sokobut kegere ko kagebut inyendet mwenyewe kikochi shida kibake akoyach kokim kabisa eng 207 amu kigero biik kole bas iboru nguno 205 kele une 207 amu ki waki draft ko nekikigere kele oye ki wako draft ne kikimangwa to njendo len kasarata so mongen ale we mwaitiza tos kasartan ba ngalale mo ke mwa ile mi tuguk chekimwa Raila Odinga jenyalo ke ngalale maganye president agetugul ko in the re-election ko moja mgolen big it's a vote of no confidence got ko si kasage week 10 so mangana le tos kasata nyalo kibwat ke ngalale ngaliota referendum ko giwa Kenya
it is a whole agoboishe ngoliano not because even this referendum and the nature of how a referendum is conducted okay hinder this same katiba it is actually something that needs to be looked at
okay
ngiwe motunwe galage kyo referendum kila you know when there is an issue agele kitikemeje sauti dabraya kendo something yo when digito kutyo ipojile you know agwagomwa you know there is an issue igere kunguno in even this housing program in other countries when you have a major policy directive a very serious policy formulation killing it you referendum and the referendum there is a normal exercise mamite in mite mabitu IBC negergak na Kenya no kumwa go referendum you know it's an elaborate almost like an election in other countries even using technology kujute jita gati ago birkura yana nyina on a referendum agotar lakini haje the way we have envisaged is that a referendum is exactly the same even a referendum to change the constitution or amend a section of the constitution kijo be referendum now give the new constitution.
Yes.
It is understandable when you are overhauling a whole constitution, an elaborate referendum. Because it is a whole document, there is a whole process around it. Last time I campaign, last time I go meet Vike Vingoni, Lakini amendment to the constitution should be made as an issue executing without a lot of drama and politics around it. That means we have to look at the law, but also last time maturity in Kenyans.
Yes.
A move, for example, I can tell you the referendum in 2010. Eventually, we sat down, and that time, myself, Murukomen, Agnego Gigi, we were just lawyers.
Yes.
You know, we were just young lawyers,
yes,
excited about what the country was going through. How give meeting like having capacity building or all the what you could to Yenig summarize on behalf of the members of Parliament, Jigibundu Rift Valley, Kondojin President William Ruto Akatiyo,
Yes.
Pass or dissect this constitution. We go in section by section and tell us in totality, is this constitution, new constitution, good for us? Or is it not good for us?
Yes.
What are the sticky issues? What are the issues that require to be addressed? So I have very independent assessment, you know, and we sat down with them, in Bibilica, and we all, you know, made those presentations. Isaac Ruto was the key person in those members of parliament, and Margaret Kamar. You know, they were the ones who were told to sit, work around it, so that you give us this presentation. So I was part of the team that made the presentation to the members of parliament, and we had a whole discussion about all those issues, including those sticky issues. Okay. And you see, for us, we were consultants. Yes. So so where are the shortcomings? Still on devolution, we have few areas. Still on issues of lands, there was a few sticky issues that required to be looked at. Those, you know, there were a few areas. You know, 100% in Dagi pollution. Lakini in totality, when there was a discussion, and I remember even in that discussion, it was agreed that this document is fairly good. Lakini in the campaigns, which side are we taking? Oh, it's yes, I mean, and I was there listening. Now we were not giving any contribution ourselves at that level. Now that question, the question that time was that me and Raila, which side is Raila supporting? Yes. Which side? Because this is actually a precursor for the
election.
For the elections. And I can tell you the discussions around 2010 new constitution, given the people who are voting against it and those who are voting for, it was not based, everybody knew generally this is a fairer document. Like, and also there was a contest around it. And you could see that even when we then got into the election, but I got results, you give a 2010 constitution, were useful in shaping the direction of the 2013 election. Eventually, it played a role. So maybe it is time for us to relook. Make a referendum a normal process. I will create an IBC, a format of a referendum that is not expensive. You know, why can't they, for example, use digital? Digital, where people can actually vote on the basis of your, you know, give on a platform with where you log in, you use your ID, you know, just create a forum where people can just make their vote. Okay, go to 3 days, you know, you have 3 days to vote. You know, so that it doesn't have to be an
election.
An election. In red and green. Me te big up such a given green. Come we give me tongue red. Inji give orange, banana, come we give me tomato, come majung guate, come we give me tondisi. You know, we just created something, a monster out of nothing. Lakini, we can be able to reflect as a country again restructuring to the extent that we make referendum a normal process, including also even making election a normal process. So that it is not a matter of life and death. By election, aguburu. Nominations, chama itam. It became very interesting that just people go, there is a and you are done. It is common. I mean, about the results can be Ngobeku get target Jogura Yat gave Regura Yagori never in Boyonda Gilebi and never in a country in West Africa.
Cameroon?
Go Cameroon and the country.
The 92-year-old.
Yeah, Kogetar election Sunday. I'll give results in 2 weeks. I mean, my goodness me.
2025.
Yeah, for 2 weeks. So results, including even hours. There is an improvement in hours. It takes about 3 days. Like why is that anxiety in about 3 days? An election technology that actually once the elections are done and the people have voted. Electronic, we know the world is moving to electronic. So we must find a way of ballot papers. Run today, ballot papers. What makes Kenyan elections very expensive is that we even don't trust our printing printers in Kenya. So all the ballot papers for elections in Kenya keep printing. Isn't that being unfair to our country? That you can print all your books. You can print all your, even the money. Ravini gave Kenya, Ravini gave print in Kenya. Like in the ballot papers, because of suspicion, if you print in that is why elections in Kenya are very expensive. Election, you can easily collapse because the amount is a lot, and it is because of lack of trust in institutions. The last time, you have a presiding officer, you have clerks, you have everybody. Then you are printing of ballot papers, and there is a team that has to go and confirm. You have to send political parties have to send people to go and see. Even the printer, they also send people in. Representatives, printing. Surely, and then you have to ship how many ballot papers? Our president they ship from outside the country. Even the cost of cargo alone. So igere bo as actress. I would demon if Kenya go because to have that kind of suspicion. And then you have to print all your ballot papers outside. That Kalias Mag printed ballot papers in they were rift, they were not rift, for example, they printed in Nyanza Gisum. They printed, I mean, what is this that is so bad to the extent that you must go and then once in London because it is an election, London made it, London in so the cost of carrying ballot papers on air. When you get distributed, in Nairobi, say get distributed. If you take Kenya, other areas give helicopter. I'm telling you, even if it is democracy, we are killing ourselves because of this level of democracy.
Mistrust.
Amun tagemite Raila, kimwagele is a king that never ruled. Kingolole ngalaga election kimi the tai kabisa na inene nigiyesho elections zetugul ago kimi kakatiet kongeten kokiite kitiak boas kikatiara moyo gonyo Kibaki gonyo Uhuru nago latest kabisa go broad based ago engenyise ko yangu kokira different baba to simwane anale mi serikali imuji go biased kidogo imuji mwaile this is a time nago nyor logoyek Raila Odinga
ingenile treason it's Raila has been a man of all seasons. In a manner that nobody imagined. Yanis, now Raila is that is why I would picture they don't know him. Raila joined the Kanu. A party about the president, Nigiratin for 9 years. Chito niki detained serikali niki detained Raila for 9 years because serikali itafukana. But Raila shook off those things. Agonyo ko Indian agotebu ngun agraila agmoi agole ngoliodo if what is the story mo ga onget so you hede olugo yin trocted. Tade wole Raila lagen niki go olugo trocted if go be start trocted ngi if so you hede agommonge Kobar so you wet kai ako ngeti ako monko. You know, and you see it takes a leader to think strategically our watch. And he joined Mzee Moi, worked as the Minister for Energy for about, I think, 2 years or 1.5 years, and they went into the elections. And as if that is not enough, that gave elections. If forming Rainbow in Liberal Democratic Party, I go forming a new outfit. I go to your in opposition wakatiyo. Ago yeginenda kwa nikafu kole kibaki tosha.
Kimagi buatingeli mo
kabala. Chris Crossen from one side kangete opposition. Ago chuta kwa serikali. If kwa mission na nyine tumulindo ago mong agonyo join the opposition kwa niki kijubisi opposition kwa den chichika jut serikali. Eventually he became the man who decided the elections in 2002 and came out selflessly. Ago legisa vote ni
kibaki.
Kimite biki kitagule raja unge ngolol jingale tombi yoni gemeje gelia let's get a formula dab ko ngeti ne thing yogi jogule kibaki tosha. The others who still wanted a process he was a decisive fellow. He decided to join the KANU. He decided to exit KANU. He decided to support Kibaki, and was pragmatic and selfless. Nyoko Indian serikali taf Kibaki ako sukuman. He supported copy intelligence up and down. Ke kurigene nusumukate ni moe nusumukeka ke lekalia mazikine, and he pushed on. You know, this is a man yako tingi tikunguni kita ngolento sha in kuta kusabu. You know, and he went on until he created referendum in 2005. Kunokta serikali. Obo ise the same referendum kujo chama ina ODM. Against man ke by election for 2007 ko kako create or recalibrate Kenya into a Pentagon. Today I am sure William Ruto, Musalia Mudavadi and many others, all their political part of that leap in their political life is owed to Raila Odinga. And we created a reorganization Kenya in a manner that took us to 2007. And in 2007, because that was the first time I voted myself. My first vote was in 2007. And I voted for Raila Odinga. We believe that on that in 2007, he actually won. You know, but of course things happened. COVID cases, issues, Kenya, and Raila accepted. Because like even the president today was an hardliner during that time in the negotiations. You know, but eventually he transitioned the process. And look at the team. He had William Ruto, he had Mudavadi, he had Orengo, and he had Sally Kosgei. I mean, even looking at the caliber of in the negotiation, Raila was a nationalist. Raila believed in capacity, and Raila recognized, capacity. He went into Serena mediation, Kenya Ruseregalit, he became the prime minister, and on 200 from 07, 2013. Kanya waruska chigi supporting at Kenya, and there was an election. COVID issues he was, he went into the opposition. You can illegit Dakim Mogojita Negim under a new constitution, come meet the parliament opposition.
If I turn
but Raila has remained powerful while outside. You know, and he worked with, eventually there was a handshake with Uhuru in 2017. Handshake Niki Umisa Nekajagati, Kubai is stabilized. You know, if you look at what Raila believes in, Kale Raila, you are better off handling or living in a country that is not perfect than living in a country that is collapsed. So you may have disagreed with Uhuru. You may have had fundamental issues with Ruto right now as the president. Lakini the firm belief by Raila that you cannot burn a country to ashes. Let us get fighter ninye lakini ngo itapoint he has that sensitive sense of leadership. Nelen kutkosiriyo ko muje kwa soko mehime. And Raila has had that consciousness. I hope that even as people in opposition, because he was the father of the opposition, Mami Jita ni mujo ko ngalal ko magulele, he can be an opposition leader anywhere close to Raila Odinga. But we hope that even the opposition, in the death of Raila, that the opposition can learn something. That you can fight, but there comes a time you have to get to a point where you ask yourself, the interest of the country comes first. I am doubtful with the level of opposition leaders getting in Kenya today. If we were to find ourselves in a situation like where we have been before, do you expect them to have the sense when it was very unpopular? Right? I said, wait a minute. And he said, forget about it. Let us, some of them were even planning, let us go all the way, overrun the State House and move. And, Raila said, wait a minute, that cannot be the case. And you see, for him to stand against such a tide, it was huge. Lakini, there is something, many people saw the coming in of Raila into the broad-based arrangement as if it was just about, as if it was with the lenses juggling 2027. And also us, when we sat down with the president, so talking, we help us understand. And the president was very categorical. Raila has made a contribution to this country. The reason why I want to bring Raila to government, this Muzi has fought for this country. He has made his sacrifice. He has paid the ultimate sacrifice. I disagree with him on a number of issues. Lakini, you cannot dispute the fact that he has sacrificed for this country. This Muzi is also aging. Yani kumingisa kutevi poyondo ni in environment nitakombetia gas poyot kuni. Kule, this man deserves respect. And it does not matter. Agunda when you could go 2027. That will be an election issue. We'll deal with it. But for now, this Mudze deserves respect. It has nothing to do with 27. Amaje get takes poyondo. I'm make his contribution in my government, but also I want to take care of him. For a leader in the head of state, forget about it. I'm going to there is nothing that this man does not deserve in this country. He has paid the ultimate price. And I am so happy that the last 1.5 or so years, Raila in his life, I think he has known peace. And I think he enjoyed it. And not just himself and his family, but also even his backyard.
Yes.
Nyanza, a region where he comes from, that has been ignored. And even when there was handshake, even when there was merger, even when things were happening in the Grand Coalition government, Nyanza still got a roadie. Under William Ruto, Kugori Nyanza in a manner that is so significant. For example, they have never had a minister for finance in their entire life. From independence. They got it under William. They had never gotten CDF. The commander, the defense forces. The late Ogola got it under William.
Yes.
There are certain things to go in your Nyanza under the presidency of William. Nugo you've got Tevege, Vigam Nyanza, Kabisa.
Nganye ni mi.
All yani kukiite ko chito nganye go bwate ka kugereg as human beings, akugereg as part of Kenya. Today, even as we complain, ngafike lejini pose ngai shape saiti in peju. Kongo leo demo yo lewe kigomia for long. You know, you guys may not understand because you have generally been in government. Even when Moi left, in Kibaki's government, we still had a few, you know, and we were still there. You know, for example, we had ministers, about 3-4 ministers in Kibaki's government. We have had all those, like Kidney, the Nyanza region for a very long time was. So, Konyo go take it or mut poyondani. If you look at the life of Poyondani, he has been happy. Talking about, and William did not work with Raila. Now, this is my political partner. William Ruto kijam jiji. Ni yani ngabo muji kitu muji omite agbozi ako virgisi met boyo kitu leji ya mune. Yani stories you could see he created a friendship. And I am sure even for the family and the ODM fraternity, they also know that William Ruto respected and loved Raila. And he gave space Raila to contribute. And Raila, you know, even when we were working together, Raila was still telling William, this is not right. You need to change this one. This one is not working well. This one is good. Push on this. You know, so he ended up, he still became Raila that we have always known. That even with these largest privileges, power, in the president, Raila could still say, but you see, anybody who would have a problem with Raila reading such a statement meant you did not know this kind of who Raila was. Raila would still speak and say things as they are, but one of the things that we go home with, even as he rests, he had given a nod for a number of the programs on housing, for example. He said this is what needs to happen. And he made it clear. On roads, the program, the roads in terms of working out. On some of the ways of raising resources. Adani, for example, modernize our airport. Can you get a program in a new airport? Raila was very categorical. My friends, you people are joking with your nation. This Adani person has done many airports outside the country, standard airports in global level. And he kept on speaking. In fact, when the president had left it, Raila kept on telling us, we messed up on this. So Raila was such a firm person who believed. He said devolution, for example, in education, looking some of the devolved functions. Some of the devolved functions, some of those devolved functions to county governments, so that then they can be effectively handled. So I think Raila left us with a mouthful of thoughts to digest. Even as we mourn him today, but I also know his exit and his death marks a huge turning point in the politics of Kenya.
Siasa ni Kenya gavana ngana logo gorom ana letendai ramification en komasta ni serikali agora chama ina ba ODM ngap kole jita mutin ye pole ODM kole amu kigeru rais ko makane den wa chama ita ODM nogo tayari gutenda bikcho kole no yaje gemiyu so jamgigero gara guyo the unifying factor, unifying figure. Raila Odinga nagongo twege basko ibe titugeleng chama ita ODM or this future ni ba chama ita ODM ang natin ba serikali guna gigere enkomatia a governor Stephen Sang mi governor ba county ba nande gingolale oleu effects bo Raila Odinga tukchegi eng siasa interaction ak piche gitu ya tugol ak tukchegi ngalale misungone tinga devolution kuna tene gingolale eng petu tabrane dega sichonget maksuma gijage angulep studio asege taitomok bengit natin bo standing nagale jinan looking new horizons kamo ngule jintiaga tu ni mi ambetu tabrane gale go raise pesa ngalega banki nguni wafanya biashara jemengechen SMS jo kale jinit mi account nege gure pamoja trader business account nagaranga pesa enyo yamegea ginye ye designer jamgele ne medium sized businesses tukulu mi ambe tutabrani yataka ne pamoja trader business account nitakuwa ideal nginye kabisa bengi na tena Stanbic Bank kale jinit wafanya biashara small businesses tukulu tena tanova ne itola 100,000 jege nyako mojo nyurugel china tena flexible pay as you go account nagaranga pesa enyo je tukulu mi orani ibwata account nege gure pamoja Umoja Trader Business Account. Kutima jai biashara nunga tingyo na gilene na jama gigere robine kya chang mising chino 100,000 yon na mesire 500,000 kemaje ke mwagile buat bengi nato nebo Stanbic. Yok tengo liot unlock UNLOCK kwa namba 22208. Agitau angaralak bengi nato nebo Stanbic Bank unlocking new horizons. Bagi beragi tingin badega shakche negit mutia so bit kedestai agavana ngolep studio nebo Cas FM International peja tulia oga sin kitende itibuta tulia kweda gere machang dege kitende kitugaribu 15-20 minutes ya so bit kitutlene Emet eng yo agavana ngolep studio serwet kitonga langung engyo serwet butyengung engomaster nebo WhatsApp tu nanyo gavana be shabas nyegger komaster not nebo conference la rani ya kwed kitong WhatsApp 07471060 SMS number ko 30552 SMS number ko 30552 la kama ni tap Syngenta kali kama tikya tu lo buat ole gere jat ko not ne gure Actelic Gold Dust ko ben kama ni not nebo Syngenta East Africa peda ko gesi nyo ko gaspande ko gasmara kwe ko gasngano ker ilegeru gomnye ker ilega mnyo gomnye ye batabasi ndegere chone gure Actelic Gold Dust ko kama ni tap Syngenta ista un tiang tugul iko tasta ko 8 minuto ko mine gure laja green bora gure Osama grom kabesa mi gure chiguro men chengo ngoi choge bas ko tare rutu ko enyo amajarani ista giriba ko 9 months ko inde ko ribon ngari bora ko le nyoy borgo le jige ma jelde bande ko la barawe tabang wan rawe tablo imi gomnye kerjat ko ne bo Actelic Gold Dust ko ngam tap Syngenta East Africa ne gere ko le mi teru ko gomnye enyo fa ishe na tag ma le ngom bande ko gomnye ay ko daren ko la kararan ibat kerjat ne gure Actelic Gold Dust ko ngam ne bo Syngenta East Africa testai agavana en komatia
Cas FM Classified.
Lenee Emet